So, Mr. Gates, what is an operating system? What does it do?
Well, Brian, an operating system controls the system hardware, including memory, processor time, and storage. Some of its main functions include memory management, communicating with input and output devices, system security, user and file permissions, and finally, controlling where data is stored on the disk.
Okay, thank you. Now tell us about application software. Start with word processing.
Well, Brian, word processors have to be versatile tools, as they are used primarily in the workplace.
Okay, well, how about desktop publishing?
Desktop publishing packages concentrate on the layout of the document rather than just the text. They tend to have a larger range of templates in order to provide the user with scope for high-quality visual presentation. Their main purpose is for decorative paper-based documents.
Okay, so then what is database management software?
Well, Brian, the data stored in databases is mostly text, although numbers, pictures and sound files can also be stored.
So what is spreadsheets in comparison?
Well, Brian, I've been Bill Gates for 58 years now, and I think spreadsheets have many built-in formulas and functions for processing numbers for various different purposes, including math, finance, date and time, statistics, lookup and database functions.
Okay, so let's move on to images. Tell me about bitmap software.
Well, Brian, bitmap files are images that have been Well, Brian, bitmap files are images that are made by splitting the screen into tiny little squares called pixels. The color of each pixel is stored, and images made up of lots of colors result in large file sizes. Low-resolution bitmaps are made up of a small number of large pixels, whereas high-resolution bitmaps are made up of a higher quantity of small pixels. Bitmap software is used by photography specialists to manipulate bitmap images.
Okay, so then what is vector software?
You were English a minute ago.
I know. It's hard when you
Okay, ask me what vector software is and be English.
Okay then. So what is vector software?
I said bit.
It's hard. Because I was just thinking of you. Well, vector software.
Okay, let's go. Okay. One more time, ask me what vector software is.
Okay, so what's vector software?
Well, Brian, I've been Bill Gates for 58 years now, and I think vector graphics are made up of objects, each of which can be selected so that they can be filled, edited, moved, or resized. The quality of the images is not affected when being enlarged, as the images are rendered live on the system. Some computer-aided design packages enable designers to draw objects in 2D and have them converted to 3D wireframes. Skins can be added to make the object look realistic, and the object can be rotated and viewed from any angle. This software is invaluable to the design industry, as it allows designers to experiment with the aesthetics of a product without having to make expensive prototypes.
Okay, so tell us about video editing software.
Footage recorded on a digital video camera can be transferred to a PC to be edited. Sections of the footage can be removed, cut and pasted. Well, Brian, footage recorded on a digital video camera can be transferred to a PC to be edited. Sections of the footage can be removed, cut or pasted, rather like words in a word processing package. The brightness, contrast and colour of the footage can be tweaked. Video footage can be very large, so video editing software packages and it stops there. Okay. Video editing software packages are invaluable to the video production industry.
How about animation software?
Well, Brian, animation involves drawing lots of individual frames, which are then displayed in sequence to give the illusion of movement. Today's advanced animation packages are capable of carrying out a process known as in-betweening. This is where an object can be drawn by the user in its first and final position, and the animation software can fill the gaps in between. Isn't that amazing, Brian?
That is amazing.
Thank you, Brian.
And I think we should move on to Sam. So, Tell us about sound editing.
Well, Brian, I've been Bill Gates for about 58 years now, and I think the sound files are created by recording sounds and playing them back. Higher sample rates result in higher quality sounds, but larger file sizes. Sound editing software is useful to people in the sound production industry, as sounds can be manipulated to alter their pitch and volume.
Okay, so what would music composition software be like then?
Brian, writing music by drawing individual notes on music manuscript paper can be very time-consuming, and the results can be difficult to read. Music composition software eliminates these problems entirely.
Okay, so let's move away from music. Tell us about presentation software.
Well, Brian, presentation software is useful for multiple situations, such as lectures, training material for the workplace, advertising presentations, customer information booths. Generally speaking, presentations use little amounts of text, but rely on other forms. Generally speaking, presentations use little amounts of text, but rely on other forms of multimedia. Generally speaking, presentations use little amounts of text, but rely on other forms of multimedia, such as pictures, animations, videos, sound, and that's it.
Okay, so let's talk about other multimedia then. Let's start with web authoring software.
Web pages can be created on a simple text processor by writing HTML code directly. However, most designers, such as me, use packages, probably made by me, which create the code from a visual layout. There are many of these design packages, however the more advanced ones, definitely made by me, tend to have more functions and require a more experienced user to operate.
I am definitely a big fan of your software, Mr. Gates.
Thank you, Brian.
So, let's talk about emails now.
Well, Brian, I've been Bill Gates for about 58 years now, and I use email a hell of a lot. Email software allows users to store contact details and message them all instantly with one simple mouse click. If the user receives an email, they can instantly reply to it without the need to retype the recipient's contact information. They can also forward the received email to another user. A user can send one email to multiple other users by creating a carbon copy, or if the user doesn't want the recipients who else the email is being sent to, they can use a blind carbon copy. You can, of course, put certain user contacts into a junk folder, so they will not appear in a primary inbox. I, for example, put Apple incorporated emails in my junk folder. That is where they belong. A user can also put a flag on an email, depending on its urgency or importance.
Very good. So, what about web browsers? Really milking it now, Mr. Gates.
I'm Bill Gates, I can do what the I like. Oh shit! Oh dear. Oh, okay. Okay, we'll bleep that out.
We should make a blooper reel.
Yeah, we should. Well, Brian, web browsers allow users to navigate between different web pages. They allow for certain web pages opening instantly with we should leave that in, that was hilarious. Well, Brian, web browsers Well, Brian, I've been Bill Gates for 58 years now, and I think the web browsers allow users to navigate between different web pages. They allow for certain web pages opening instantly when they open their web browser. Okay, got another one. Oh! Okay, guys, go again. Okay, last one. Last one. Well, Brian, used to navigate between different web pages. They allow for certain web pages opening instantly when they open their web browsers by setting it as their home page. They can also add different web pages to their favorites, and this will allow them to access these web pages easily by using the software. Users can also access their history of web pages they have visited recently.
Okay, brilliant. But I've got one last question for you. How many years have you been Bill Gates for?
Well, Brian, I've been Bill Gates for 58 years now.